Good afternoon, brothers and sisters. As I sat here a few minutes ago, my day job when I'm not delivering information at annual conference is a high school chemistry teacher, and it's about this time during fifth hour when I'm about to start a discussion on empirical and molecular compounds that my students look about the same way as those of you. I'll try to make this a little bit more energizing than that. Circle of Peace Church is located in the suburbs of Phoenix, Arizona. In 2020, when the pandemic hit, we quickly switched to online services. It wasn't easy, but we did our best to make it work. The Navajo Nation is a Native American reservation mostly located within Arizona. COVID-19 ravaged the Navajo Nation. It made national headlines. The Navajo people were suffering some of the worst outbreaks in the country. We wanted to help, but every time we tried, it seemed like we hit a wall. Every charity that we contacted that served the reservation was collapsing because of the pandemic, and we didn't know what to do. So we turned to Facebook. We asked if anyone knew anyone who was serving the Navajo Nation. We got introduced to a woman named Theo. Theo is Navajo and lived in downtown Phoenix. She knew people who could make deliveries into the reservation. We jumped at the chance. We found out what was needed and started collecting funds, food, water, and supplies. Even kids and teenagers from the church got involved. The process was simple. If we could get the supplies to Theo, she could get the supplies to the reservation. There was no overhead cost, no middleman. Everything went to the people who needed it most. While bigger organizations had to stop services, Theo's informal network of volunteers was unstoppable. Her contacts were able to make deliveries deep in the reservation. These deliveries were being made personally, with supplies being put directly into the hands of those who needed them. We were amazed at the way God had opened for us to serve our neighbors. They sent us photographs for verification, but also, and more importantly, for inspiration. Every picture was worth 1,000 words. The more we shared on social media, the more donations came in. People from other states made financial contributions. Some families gave their entire stimulus checks to this ministry. Before the pandemic, we were outgrowing our building. We went to 2 services and started building a new facility. But with the pandemic, we couldn't use our building for worship at all. So we turned it into a donation collection center. In the fall of 2020, we tried something new, church outdoors. Now we live in Arizona, so you can do that in the fall and the winter. It wasn't easy, but we were amazed at how many first-time visitors came to church outdoors. Several new families immediately began serving the Navajo Nation with us. Donations and deliveries picked up again. Now, I know you all have zucchini issues in the Midwest. I grew up in the Midwest. We have citrus issues in Arizona. Some of our neighbors had citrus trees exploding with fresh fruit. Rather than letting it go to waste, we organized picking parties. We harvested all we could and added to the donations. At one point, because of an emergency health order, the borders of the Navajo Nation were closed. But because our partners were Navajo themselves, they had full and uninterrupted access. I'm letting this picture sink in for a moment. We got involved with this ministry because of COVID-19, but we came to realize that many people on the reservations did not have electricity or running water to begin with. So we expanded our offerings to include things that would help with other basic needs, like staying warm in the winter, while continuing to make offerings that were personally and verifiably delivered. There are 22 federally recognized tribes in the state of Arizona. Because God is opening doors for us to serve even beyond the Navajo Nation, our ministry to indigenous people continues and is now called Every Tribe. I think when your plan gets into the God zone, you're allowed to change its name. Times are tough, but God is good, and we are coming out of the pandemic better than we went into it. We've begun work again to build a new and even more flexible building for our worship and service, to seek and find and love and share Jesus in our neighborhood. Thank you.
Thank you.